What is going on with Nick
Or
Bosa?
an apple fritter and be a turnover and be Brock Purdy.
Did Nick Bosa blame the play calls this week? How the audacity of Nick Bosa to call out Steve Wilks after Monday Night Football. The audacity of Nick Bosa to call on anybody after strong-arming the Niners for $120 guaranteed dollars, $120 million guaranteed. You strong-armed them. You held out of training camp, and all of a sudden you want to blame training camp. I don't want to hear from Nick Bosa. Again, I called you guys yesterday. I'm dead serious. Nick Bosa, fly back to Florida. We'll meet you in Jacksonville that Friday night when we play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just stay in Florida.
Could we just 1 second?
I mean, seriously.
The strong arming part, because I was one of the only people saying that I was very worried about him missing time. Now is that because of the results?
No.
Because it's always like, hey, it's a business, get your money.
No, that doesn't even matter. Once you make that decision to not go to camp, it's all it is. I expect you to go work on your own to be ready to go.
Yeah.
And for the first 5 weeks, nobody had any problems with Bosa. Now the sack numbers are down, but the pressures are up. Nobody said anything about Bosa. All of a sudden they lose a game and it's, he missed training camp. So he's also not, but now we're in week 9. I don't want to hear about training camp. I don't want to hear about play calls. I don't want to hear about anything from Nick Bosa other than, did you go sack the quarterback today? Did you go? He's not even playing to run well.
It does.
Honestly, I'm sorry, Shasky. This guy's not even stopping to run. I watched him the entire game from my seats at Levi's, and I told you that I was going to do that. I'm going to watch number 97 this week. Every single play. They barely chipped him. They barely doubled him. They said, we'll leave Orlando Brown on you one-on-one.
It feels to me, whether real or not, just based on the results, it sure feels like he got paid and has not been the same player. And I'm asking out loud, like, if this were a basketball player, you know what we would say? Like, you pulled a Jordan Poole. You know what I mean? You got an extension, and you kind of gave up on us. And I think it's easy for me to sit here and criticize effort level. It's another thing to actually watch what he's doing between. But I'm just telling you what it looks like for a fan.
He's just not a good football player now.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not a good football player.
But I don't want to hear his excuses because to me, like, look, do I think Steve Wilks is the greatest defensive mind ever? No, I don't. But do I think he's the reason why this team on defense looks horrible? I'm sure he's a part of it, but he's not the reason. Like, Isaiah Oliver, this organization, as well as Steve Wilks, decided to bring him on. I should have addressed this toast, and I could have been Isaiah Oliver. You know what I mean? Because that guy is burnt toast right now. Charvarius Ward, you paid him handsomely in free agency last year, and he was good for you last year.
You know what? I want to stick on Bosa here.
No, but I'm just saying, collectively, the highest paid guys aren't showing up.
But
and Bosa, Bonte,
it starts with Bosa.
He's making 20% of the cap.
It starts
20% of the cap.
I don't want to hear about nothing else right now except for Nick Bosa.
Why is it so bad?
No. I don't know why it's so bad. They're running the ball his way. At the end of the game, Joe Mixon gets the edge on Nick Bosa. How many times are you going to give up the edge?
Well, and
how many times?
Make a play.
You give up the edge to Joe Mixon, and he walks in for a touchdown. Bosa's not playing to run well. He's not getting to the quarterback. And last week, he got chipped. He didn't get chipped that much. He didn't get doubled that much. So it all starts with the DPOY, Nick Bosa. Well, and right now, he's playing. I mean, Drake Jackson, Nick Bosa, what's the difference? Well, honestly, what's the difference?
You know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of Cassius Marsh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look how close he got to the quarterback that time. It's like, dog, I need sacks. Well, and here's the thing that I brought up yesterday, and I would love your point of view. Could you imagine if Aaron Donald was like, yeah, I'm not getting home because my DC sucks.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron Donald would never say that.
No.
But if you want to get paid, Aaron, but seriously.
You imagine Aaron Donald, oh, yeah, I'm just experimenting on some things
That's
here.
What I'm saying.
I'm experimenting using this because I didn't come to camp. Blah,
now
blah,
you're
blah,
coming
blah,
around on it. All right.
So, no, I'm not coming around on anything. I don't care about training camp. He made his decision. He got paid. Well, that decision clearly was the wrong one from everyone involved. You know, Nick, whether it's because of him, because of the Niners, whatever. Like, at this point, it's irrelevant. But the results are it didn't work out, and they should learn a lesson from this. Everyone, so both Nick and the Niners. So according to Ed Werder, the NFL trading deadline is at 1:00 today.
Yeah.
NFL trade deadline 1:00 today, and according to Ed Werder, Chicago Bears corner
Jalen Johnson
from Fresno trade.
Yeah.
Now, Air Waters reporting that the Niners and Bills are among the teams discussing potential trades for Jalen Johnson.
So
that's a trade the Niners need to make happen. They need a corner in a worse way. The Giants had 2 starting pitchers. By the end of the year, it's just Logan Webb. The Niners have 1 corner right now, and that's Deommodore Lenoir.
You have to work out an extension with him because apparently that's what fell apart with him and the Bears, which is fine. He was a guy that, I don't know, Spadoni, you might have been the producer back then. Me and Covey had him on pre-draft because he was one of the 49er targets that we were thinking they might take either in the second round or with one of their other first-round picks, because remember they had 2 first-rounders that year. And we interviewed him. Really nice young man. Local guy, I believe grew up a Niner fan. For if memory serves, and just he was saw as a weapon. Like he could play corner, he could play safety. He's a hard hitter. He's very versatile, very much in the Jimmy Ward mold when Jimmy Ward was coming out. And it feels like he's a perfect fit for what they need to do right now.
I want to see that happen. I want to see that happen at all. Let's go to the lines here, man. 888-957-9570. We got some basketball time. Last hour and a half, we just need to talk Warriors because there's a lot of good going on with that, and I want to get into the Golden State Warriors.
Bosa's really got you upset, huh? You really focused on him at the game?
I'm saying like I don't get upset. I'm not upset over.
All right, but you're disappointed in his performance?
How can you not be?
I totally agree.
It's not just his performance. It's when you go out there, you play bad, and you go out there, you throw the DC under the bus. That's the part
for me. The accountability.
Fred Warner.
The lack of accountability.
Kyle Shanahan could take notes from Fred Warner.
I agree with you.
Fred Warner sat there at that podium, stood up there, and said, no, it's not on Steve Wilks. This is on the players. We have to make plays. Well, Shanahan, why don't you take notes? Because what he did last week set a bad tone for the entire week.
What was that?
Yeah, there's 0 blitz. I don't know why he called it, but we all know it was a bad play call. You got to go up there to the podium and through drive error. Hey, we talked about it. We'll move on. That's not the play that lost us the game. Shanahan, do better. Do better, Shanahan. Do better with your play calls.
So
how about you look in the mirror? How about you adjust in the second half? How about you tinker your passing game? How about you do some things differently? I'm down on the big money players here. Big money players
That's what
here.
I'm saying.
Bosa, Hargrave, Ward, Shanahan. Let's be real, Shanahan. Let's not be scared to criticize Shanahan and his offense scored 17 points the last 3 weeks. Come on, man.
Dude, what about these pressure rate things? Because I'm kind of getting sick of it. It reminds me of like hyping up somebody's on-base percentage who literally can't run the bases. This pressure rate thing, like I get it, but you're not getting home.
Oh yeah, it's like the plus minus.
It's
a plus minus.
Like no, it's a tool. It's a tool, but we're acting like it's the end all be all. Well, they're getting the exact same, and
right.
It's like okay. It's like telling me about a team that runs really well in 3 quarters, but then when they have a lead in the 4th quarter, they can't run at all to close the game out.
You know, the whole Wilks thing.
I feel like they're scapegoating.
Yeah, they are scapegoating.
Not that he's the best.
But you know what happens? This is what happens.
What?
Robert Saleh early on was scapegoated. People wanted him out of town. Remember that?
They were historically bad in 2018.
Remember that? But they had no talent.
Sacks.
They had no talent.
They had the least amount of sacks in the history of the Niners. I know.
No talent.
They did end up having guys, DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead, who would go on to be better players.
2 guys.
Yeah.
They had no talent, though.
I would agree.
But everybody wanted Robert Saleh. At one point, people were very critical of D'Amico Ryans. They were. Give Wilks time, man. He's been in this league for 17 years. Traditionally, historically, Steve Wilks has had good defenses. All right? The scheme, same scheme, right? Same scheme. Shanahan told him not to change much, which is why he's here.
They're saying, okay, I'm listening to the players. I don't pretend to know coverage schemes and this, but they're saying, at least the guys, the players themselves, if you're reading between the lines, the back-end coverages aren't matching the pass rushing schemes. Nick Bosa has alluded to it multiple times.
Nick Bosa. I don't care about Nick Bosa right now.
And the safeties.
Get the quarterback. Who did Gibson and
they've been alluding to the coverages, and then Richard Sherman, and we have some sound that we're going to play in a second. Richard Sherman basically who I guess he knows the scheme better than most because he played in it for a couple years, is saying that the coverages on the back end, again, this is getting very into the minutia.
No, that's why I want to hear this.
The coverages on the back end aren't matching the pass rush specifics. So like either they're laying off when they should be pressing, or at least closer to them, or whatever. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, yes, the coverages may not match the pass rush situations, they're also not tackling. They're also holding guys. They're tackling wide receivers before the ball shows up. They're getting bodied on certain plays. Like, we're acting like it isn't a catch-all. Like, right now, really not a lot is going well on defense.
No, it's not.
Right? Like, they're just, as a unit, not playing well. There aren't a lot of hats flying to the ball simultaneously. Well, that used to be the hallmark of this defense, gang tackling. One guy
missing
holds
tackles.
What's that?
They're missing tackles.
Yes.
They walking into that game in Cincinnati, they missed over 22 tackles in the last 2 games. And I'm sure Lundman was there. I saw him in the press box. I saw the locks in the players box from my seats. They were missing tackles on Sunday. They were missing tackles, so I'm not going to blame Wilks for not tackling. I'm not going to blame Wilks from number 97 not getting to the quarterback.
Yes.
When number 97 opened his mouth and you threw the DC under the bus like he did last week, and then you go out there against Cincinnati and throw up another goose egg, I don't want to hear from you. Well, go away for the bye week. We'll talk to the Bosas after the bye week. Look, we love his father. We love his mama. But what he's popping off about and blaming the DC, I don't like that.
Well, the part that kind of bugged me, and this is just, again, I love Bosa more than most. He is getting doubled, but we act like he's getting doubled every play of every game, and that's not true.
Not a lot against Cincinnati.
No, I agree.
Not a lot against Cincinnati.
I was keeping an eye on him most of the game. I don't think I saw him get doubled once all day.
Same thing.
There was a particular play.
Same thing.
So this isn't a double.
I watched Bosa all game. There wasn't a lot of doubles on Sunday.
Well, what they did was really good. So they had Jamar Chase chip him, right? And then slowly Jamar Chase leaked out for basically like a little shallow crosser.
A lot of delay routes from Jamar.
But here's my thing. Like, that's still a one-on-one. You got to win. And he didn't.
So I want to read a text from a Comcast business.
What's that?
Line, 510. And I hear this from a lot of fans.
What's that?
Defensive coordinator is an issue. He doesn't motivate the defense like Saleh and Ryans. You can't leave from upstairs. When I got Nick Bosa getting paid $120 million guaranteed.
51 this year.
And I got Javon Hargrave getting paid. When I got Eric Armstead getting paid.
17 this year.
When I got Dre Greenlaw getting paid.
Yeah.
When I got Fred Warner getting paid.
14 this year.
And I got Charvarius Ward getting
14
paid.
this year.
You need to get motivated by the coach at this stage.
That's what I'm saying.
You lost 3 in a row. You're supposed to be the big bad 49ers.
Thank you.
And Brian Baldinger talked about it with you guys about 15 minutes ago. You can find the whole interview on Twitch and YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game. This is what he had to say in regards to going up on the booth or being down on the field.
Dan Quinn, he coordinates the Cowboys defense. He sits up in a booth.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start, honestly, Bonte, if you start saying, well, is this going to make a difference? Like, if you're thinking about a coach is upstairs or downstairs, like, maybe that's the problem right there. Not that he's upstairs or downstairs. It's like, who gives a? Nobody gives a crap.
Right.
Like, call the defense.
Right.
Like, if the guy's down the field, honestly, hell, if Shanahan's upstairs calling the plays, call the plays upstairs. Like, it should make a difference. The play's to play. You got to execute the play.
I'm with you.
And so, I'm sure you got the bye week. I'm sure there's all kinds of player-only meetings, which is always a problem. But look, they've lost 3 in a row. By the time they get to the field, the next time, they will not have won a game in a month.
Bonte, I'm looking at it this way. Did you know 48% of their salary cap goes to the top 6 players on defense?
I'm well aware.
Okay, 25% goes to the top 6 offensive players. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if I'm paying all that money and that premium money on defense, and 20% of that goes to Bosa himself, those guys have to step up.
Yeah, they do have to step up.
They have to step up. I don't want to hear about scapegoating the DC.
I don't want to hear about that.
I think that's really weak.
I don't want to hear about that either.
From a bunch of veterans.
Yeah, I don't want to. But, scapegoat them all you want to. Scapegoat Wilks. All right, fire them. What's the solution? Is Chris Kosaric ready to call the defense?
I thought he was out on that.
Yeah, I mean, what's the solution here, folks? 888-957-9570. By the way, Mike Evans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers GM, Jason Light. I look forward to seeing Mike Evans continue his career in Tampa. So it looks like Mike Evans is going to remain in Tampa, and Mike Evans will be at Levi Stadium in a couple of weeks. But